Hello everybody! I'm back with another how-to video. Today I'm going to show you guys how to change the oil on a 2007 Honda Civic Si. Clearly on this one right here, clearly it's mine, so let's get going. So what you guys are going to need are a set of jack stands, either a breaker bar or a ratchet or some sort with a 17mm attachment, your new oil filter with a new crush washer, you're going to need an oil filter wrench. I suggest a 1-gallon Ziploc bag. I'll show you what that's for later during the video. Maybe some rubber gloves. Of course, you're going to need the new oil, an oil drain pan, the filter to add the new oil, and last but not least, whatever you use to take wheels off of your car. So the first thing you would typically do is put the car in the air on some jacks. Since I'm working by myself today, I suggest taking whatever you like to use to break the nuts loose on your wheels, of course, and do that, because it's going to be kind of a bitch when you're working alone with the car in the air trying to break them loose then. So, first thing to do, break the nuts loose on the front passenger wheel. Let me remind you that we are not removing the wheel bolts right now. We're just simply breaking them loose. The reason we're breaking them loose is so we can then remove the wheel later on in the process. And we're removing the wheel because your new oil filter and your old one is located right there behind it. Behind all this goodness. And the easiest way to get to it is just to simply take the wheel off. And like I said, you just got to break the bolts loose, and then later on we'll go through that. Now that the wheel bolts are broken loose on the front passenger side, we're going to go ahead and lift the car up now and throw it on some jacks. Now that we've got the front end safely lifted in the air, we're going to go ahead and pop the hood and remove the oil filler cap. Why? Because it's going to make things a lot easier when we're draining the oil later. After that, we're going to go ahead and go underneath the car and start draining the oil. Alright you guys, so what we've got going on under the car here, let me get it in focus a little bit, is of course you've got your drain pan. I've got a piece of cardboard here kind of to protect the concrete, but as we get underneath a little more, you're going to look here. And it's pretty plain Jane simple there. Engine oil, arrow. Where you can see this socket, there's a bolt there. And that, my friend, is a 17mm socket. So what you're going to do, you're going to go ahead and break that loose and then drain your oil, because that's what that does. Okay, so now that we've got the oil draining out down there now, you do want to make sure that you kind of position this to compensate for less pressure coming out. So it's going to blast out of that damn hole real quick at first, but as you can see, slowly as it loses pressure pushing out, it's going to start coming this way towards us. So position your drain pan accordingly, kind of plan for that. And while we let that drain down all the way, we're going to go ahead and get started on removing that oil filter. So next we're going to go ahead and remove the oil filter. Now clearly this is not the oil filter. This is where the wheel was, which is why I had you break loose the bolts prior to lifting it in the air, because guess what? You got to take the wheel off. I already did that, so why haven't you do it? But anyway, this is probably going to be the biggest bitch of this job, and that's removing the oil filter, because guess what? The oil filter is all the way back up and in there. For some reason, Honda does not like us, and they wanted to make removing the oil filter as difficult as possible. Let me go ahead and get you guys a little closer so you can see what the hell I'm talking about. And get some light in there. Yeah, you see that? You see that gold thing up there? Yep, that's the oil filter. And you gotta reach in there and you gotta loosen that and take it out. So that's what I'm about to do. And yeah. Okay you guys, so I got pretty lucky. The oil filter came off pretty easily for me. As you can see, most of it got in the bag, a little bit kind of dripped off, down. Anything you do get on the boots in there, make sure you clean it off right away. Oil and rubber just does not mix well down there, so make sure you clean that off. Otherwise, you're going to be spending more money on some new goodies down there. So yeah, next we're going to put the new oil filter on. This is one I got from Honda. I suggest doing the same because, hey, Honda makes it for Honda. First thing you're going to want to do is you're not just going to throw this on there like this, all right? A lot of people suggest, pouring a little bit of oil in there. That you can or cannot do. What you do want to do, though, is get some oil on your finger and definitely lube up the rubber O-ring on the outside of this thing. It helps it seal a little better, prevents leaks, and it's just something that it's what you do, you guys. You gotta learn how to lube it up. So do that. Just throw this right back in there, hand tight, and then 3/4 of a turn using the wrench. Or if you just want to go hand tight, typically that won't kill it. But yeah, do that. Do not over tighten it because it is a bitch. And I know some of you out there are like, I can't get my oil filter off. If that's the case, punch a screwdriver through it and do it that way. But yeah, do not over tighten these because they don't need to be that tight, please. So yeah. Alright you guys, so now that the new oil filter is on, all the old oil is drained out into the oil pan, you're going to take the drain bolt and you're going to remove the little crush washer that's on it. Some people say, hey, yeah, you can reuse these, it's not going to cause a leak. That might be true, but if I can get this thing off, it might be true that it might not cause anything to leak, but a new one like this from Honda is like 70 cents, so why the hell not get a brand new one? But yeah, take that, just throw it on there like that, boom, up there, torque it down. If you don't know your torque specs for all these things, guess what? Honda puts it in the owner's manual. So look in the owner's manual, figure out what your torque specs are, or Google it, because there's a thing called the internet nowadays. Do that, make sure you torque it down, because guess what? It's kind of important. Everything is. Torque it down, and you're good to go. You're almost there. So now that we've got the drain bolt torqued down to spec, put the wheel back on, torque the lug nuts down to spec. Please do not forget to tighten the lug nuts on the wheel. I promise you, if you forget to do that, and you're just driving down the road, you're going to be in a world of trouble once you see that wheel out in front of the car, and you wondering why you're in a ditch. Once you got that done, lower the car. You should be on an even level surface for this. You should be from the beginning at least. And yeah, now you're going to do the easiest, but probably the most important part of the job. And that's putting in not only the correct type of oil, but the correct amount of oil. So I here have 5-weight 30 synthetic. That's what a Honda Civic Si takes from the year 2007. If you don't know what your car takes, guess what? Just like the torque specs, it's in the owner's manual. They give it to you. Don't be afraid to read, people. It's okay to do that sometimes. For those of you who have an SI like I do, like I said, it's going to be 4.6 quarts, and I've got 5 quarts right here. Hey, what do you know? Just enough. Clearly, I'm not going to put all of it in there. I may end up doing that somehow. I don't know. If you do that, you're going to screw it up a lot of the time. Other than that, yeah, we're going to go ahead and shabadoop bada beep, labadoop bada beep, and go ahead and, hey, look at this. Slowly but surely. It's about 4 1/4 right there. So what I'm going to do now is obviously put the fill plug back on and start the motor, let it run for 5-10 minutes. Afterwards, check for any leaks, make sure everything's sealed up underneath, make sure the oil filter isn't dripping oil, and then you're going to check the fill line, and you know what, make sure you got the right amount of oil in there, because let's be honest, the most accurate thing in the world is going to be this thing. You don't have any other way to measure it aside from that. So check that. If you need more oil, put more in, but try to make it so you don't need to take oil out, because that is, just don't do it. Alright you guys, so everything's checked out. I did need to add a little more oil afterwards, but all the levels are good now. Check for leaks, there's nothing there, nothing's dripping. So consider this job successful. Hopefully you guys get the same results. Please be careful. If you don't feel comfortable doing this, just take it in somewhere. Take it into the dealership. Have them do it. Pay that extra buck. Hey, if you were able to do this, please like the video. That always helps. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comment section below. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe, because there will be more how-tos, more car videos, more entertainment coming your way. And hey, thanks you guys. You're awesome. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome rest of your day, I guess.